Hello, my name is Mrinalini and I'm a fellow in Rheumatology and Internal Medicine working in London in the UK. I'm here reporting for Room Now from ACR 2025 here in Chicago, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Dr. Bharat Kumar, who is a rheumatologist and fellowship program director at the University of Iowa. Thank you for joining us.
So Dr. Dave, the pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. So we are actually going to be discussing a topic that's really taken over ACR this year, and that is artificial intelligence. You can't move for seeing all of the sessions and the posters and the various different abstracts about artificial intelligence. And we're specifically going to be talking about abstract 2174 that's due to be presented on Tuesday of the Congress at 10:30 in the poster session, which is specifically looking at the potential use of AI in looking at fellowship applications. I'm going to ask Dr. Kumar to explain a little bit more about your work.
Sure. So it's application season right now. It's interview season. It's actually just finished, and we're about to make our rank order lists. The problem is that there's so much information in these applications in terms of personal statements, in terms of letters of recommendation, in terms of transcripts, etc. And it's not always easy to parse all this information and to do it in a very timely and efficient manner. And it's also very hard to do it in a standardized way too, because one evaluator may see something in one way, another person may see it another way. So this is where artificial intelligence can be really helpful, but it has to be used very carefully. As Dr. Day is mentioning, AI is everywhere, but the more important thing is not developing a tool, but rather figuring out how a tool can be used. So for our project, what we did is that we used AI to help evaluate character strengths within personal statements. So character strengths, and we used a framework called the VIA Character Strengths Framework. Character strengths are different aptitudes and attitudes and dispositions that exist within individuals, such as honesty, trustworthiness, spirituality, forgiveness, teamwork, etc., conscientiousness, etc. And so we developed this large language model, and we parsed through all of these personal statements in order to identify the presence or absence of these character strengths within these applications, in particular the personal statements. In that way, we can have a more nuanced understanding of what people they see themselves as and how they can fit into a program through their own personal statements and through our own mission statement.
Great. Okay. So, just talk us through a little bit more about how you developed the program and the model specifically. And what you found.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was programmed in Python, which is a computer language, and what we did was we looked at that framework, the VIA Character Strengths Framework, and for each of the framework strengths, we associated with about 3 to 5 different adjectives. Now, the way how this large language model works is it goes through the sentences and looks for specific terms that are associated with these character strengths and also the relationship to other words nearby. Mm-hmm. So, by doing so, you can actually grade a personal statement from 0 to 1 for the presence and strength of that character strength in relation to the other character strengths that are there. And in the end, it outputted this nice little heat map that shows where the character strengths lie within the entire candidate pool, depending on their personal statements.
Okay, fascinating. Okay, and what were the sort of top line results that you found when you?
So top line results is, number one, it was very rapid and very quick as compared to a manual screen. Literally took hours to literally seconds to do that. It was pretty reliable in that when we had our human raters look at this, we saw that there was high congruence to what we were seeing. And the other top line, actually, interestingly enough, is that there are 2 character strengths that are not very well represented, and those are forgiveness and spirituality. They're strange things to be writing in a personal statement, so it's not too strange about that. But otherwise, beyond that, character strengths are highly and readily available to be seen through this algorithm if you parse through the different personal statements.
Okay. I'm curious to know, what did your current fellows, or what do they think about the use of this model?
So
in this
our
way?
current fellows and faculty members are enthusiastic about
Yeah.
this. There is, of course, a very good reason to be healthily skeptical about the use of AI, to automate it. And so there's a big belief, and I concur with all of our fellows and faculty members, that this should be used as a tool, as an adjunct, in order to understand what's going on. Now, to give an example of that, when we had seen in some of our pilot data, this is not in our poster, but some of our pilot data, that someone had many character strengths, however, honesty was somehow lacking in that. That prompted a critical review of those application materials to see if there was evidence of honesty in other places, such as the letter of recommendation, etc. So that's how this tool is meant to be used, rather than as a substitute for screening people out and deciding who goes there and who goes into another pile.
And I think, to be honest, when we look at AI in other areas of rheumatology more broadly, that seems to be the recurring theme at the moment, to be exercising caution and using it as an additional tool rather than over-reliance. I think that's what we need to be cautioning against here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think program directors will be very relieved to hear that this program will not take away your job. You will still be able to read all of these essays, and you'll still have the liberty of selecting whoever you would want.
Perfect. Okay. What are the next steps?
So the next steps are actually to see if there is a larger subset of individuals that we can use this for, and to see whether there is consequential validity. That is, even if you do see the character strength when they get into fellowship, does that actually translate into the strengths that are exhibited by the individual as observed by different faculty members? So that's kind of the big thing. Those are obviously large steps. It'll take a couple of years to figure that out. And by that time, AI will have expanded beyond that.
Perfect. Okay. If we can just end with a final thought, what's your view on the just generally AI in rheumatology and how it's being presented at the ACR this year? That's probably a very long question, but perhaps in a few short sentences you can sum it up for us.
So in a few short sentences, I'm very excited about the future of AI in rheumatology. However, we have to be very, very careful. AI should be considered a very advanced predictive or generative tool, such as a spell check or grammar check. There needs to be extensive regulation and oversight over any tool, whether if it's for clinical use, educational use, research, etc. But nevertheless, AI is really changing the way how we do rheumatology, and I'm very grateful to be in an age in which we have the advent of AI.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you for going through that all with us today, Dr. Kumar. If you'd like to know more about Dr. Kumar's work, it is poster 2174 on Tuesday. If you'd like to know more about what's going on here at the Congress, do keep following along the coverage on Rheum Now. Thank you very much for joining us.